Welcome back to another day of living in the new house. We didn't record anything yesterday, but there was quite a lot that went on. It's just none of it was particularly good vlog content, so we didn't record any of it. So let me walk you through it now. James and Shane rocked up, the boys from Spectrum Electrical rocked up, and what did they do? They got the Wiser thermostat all now wired in up into the loft, so that we were prepped and ready to go for heating. They got the batten light up in the loft as well. You'll see that a little bit later on. I'm not going to try and squeeze myself open the ladder while we're doing this. And then they've also got some of the outdoor lighting up as well now. So we now have outdoor spotlights on the back, one on the front and one on the side of the house as well. We also have a floodlight at the back and then the bracket for the floodlight down there. They were on about trying to mount it on its side, but I said I prefer to have an angle bracket so it was mounted the correct way down. Correct way around. So yeah, now none of that is on electrically yet, but it's all fitted on, ready to go now, and it's looking really, really nice. What then happened was, Alex then rocked up there to try and get the heating and hot water online. Thermostat, there was just then a load of playing around with pushing buttons on the boiler. There was holding buckets underneath things because we had to drain some water out of certain things. There was bleeding radiators. It was hours and hours and hours of fiddling with the system, but eventually we managed to get the hot water on and the downstairs heating loop on, so we actually had some proper heat in the house, which was nice. I'll jump onto the Wiser thermostat app after this clip as well, and I'll show you a little bit of some of the stuff of how that worked now, because it's a smart system that I can control by my phone. I can set rules, I can do loads of other stuff as well, so we'll do a clip on that at some point today as well. We did then go over to my parents and have another shower then, and got to the stage where I thought I'd turned the heating off, but I hadn't. I'd actually left it on, which was actually quite convenient because it did mean that the plaster upstairs in the bathroom got a good blast of heat through it. And actually, if you have a look at it now, it's kind of getting towards dry, which is good. So it's not quite there yet, but we're not far off being able to put the tanking on and deal with getting the bath in. But while that was going on, Alex also dropped the pipe in for the bath filler as well, so we've got her pipe ready to go for there. So there was quite a lot of progress. It's just it was many hours of literally standing there going with the radiator key and loads of other stuff. Not so good news this morning, however, is the pressure in the hot water system had completely dropped down again. I then went and topped it back up with some water. There was no obvious signs of leaks. Ignore that, that was from something else. There was no obvious signs of leaks. So then I went and flicked the hot water back on after topping up the pressure, and then it got completely overpressured, and then the overflow valve gave out and pushed a load of water out. So Alex needs to go have a look at that and see what's going on with why it was dropping the pressure in the first place, and why when I filled it back up again it got overpressured. So we're sitting there without the heating at the moment, but that should be going on later. So that pretty much now brings us back up to date today. Now, it is a weekend, and we want to get on with some stuff. Elizabeth has gone to see some family friends as well, so she's out of the house this morning. My dad is on the way to come give me a hand, and we've got like loads of just bitty jobs to do. So the original plan of action was actually to go through and plaster this back bedroom, but because we couldn't finish the bathroom because of the plaster not being dry, I haven't been able to board this wall yet, so we're not really in a state where we can plaster this room. So I think what the plan of action is going to be is tidy this room, fill in the rest of the gaps in the floorboards that we can do from here, and then what that'll then mean is that we will move out of the front bedroom with all of our shenanigans and stuff and unmade bed that we haven't done since I got up this morning. We're going to move all of that then into the back bedroom so I can get on with plastering this room instead, because we've got to get some of that plaster on the wall because it's going to go out of date on the 18th of November, which is about 16 days away now. So we have really got shifted in it. What I also want to do while my dad's here as well, while we've got the extra set of hands, is get the bit of plasterboard up for the loft as well. So I've marked up where we need to move this frame for the shower plate to go into the ceiling, move it that way so that it now lines up with the slightly narrower bath and the old shower tray that was in there. So I want to move that across, get that cut up, get that stuck up on the roof, and then at least that's that piece of plasterboard basically done. I think what we may do as well is get the plasterboard back on this wall, because then Alex can then start running the pipes for the sink in here, and potentially we can even have then the sink being completely piped in, and we'll have at least some hot water upstairs for normal water upstairs for brushing teeth, having a wash, everything else like that. So we're getting there. We are genuinely starting to get there now. There's loads of festive jobs we just need to do, so we can hopefully get on with plastering maybe this afternoon. More than likely probably going to end up being tomorrow now. So I'm going to shut up for a bit. And then I'm going to crack on with the job. I did mention I might do the Wiser bit we'll do that a bit later when I sit down later this afternoon, because I think it's better we just get on with some stuff rather than playing around with the app even longer. But anyway, job time. You know that previous clip where I said we're going to start getting on with some stuff? Well, it's quite a lot later in the day and we haven't really got anywhere. So I turned the heating on and there's still a lot of air trapped in the system. So it started overpressurizing and went out through the emergency overfill. So we've had to do some bleeding of that. Then Elizabeth was on her way back, so we went and picked her up. And we picked up some lengths of 4x1 to put under the bath, so we've been out to Wicks and everything. So we're hopefully now at the stage where the heating isn't necessarily still drained, and I've now lost my radiator key. So my dad's gone to Wicks to try and get or Screwfix to try and get a new radiator key. And I'm actually going to get on with something now, because we've basically lost most of the day and I haven't got on with anything. So it is time to get moving. First job, and I think it is the highest priority out of all of them, is to get this plywood and sheet of plasterboard back on this wall, because at least if they're on there, then Alex can get on with putting the pipes back in for that area. Now, we did do a trial fit in one of the previous vlogs in part of the time lapse, and I know these are going to be slightly too long now because they're going to be pushing up against that plaster on that side of the wall, so I know we're going to have to do a bit of fettling, so it's not going to be straight as just dropping straight back in, but let's get them lined up and see what the damage is and see what kind of changes we've got to make to it. Fitment of this isn't too bad, but what I did when I put this up is I cut it to be not square, and then I've rebuilt the wall, and the wall is now square, because if you remember correctly, I'd left this stud, the old one, on the wall, which wasn't square at all, so the whole wall was kilted out, but my new wall is actually square, so you'll see down the bottom we've got a much bigger lip down there, and we've also got too much height on this as well, so we're going to chop some off this bottom edge, or top edge, one of the two, just to get it sorted out, and then we'll go along and we'll trim off that edge as well, just so we get it all square. There we go, bit of trimming, bit of fettling, and the plywood's back in. Got to try and do the same thing with the plasterboard now, which is going to be a lot less fun, but yeah, one job down. Thankfully, no fettling required. Fitted straight back in as it was, even using most of the old holes. There's only one screw that clashed with something else, and that is wall back in. Can now move on to the next job, which I think is going to be probably getting these floorboards back in, unless Alex needs them up for any reason. But at least if we get the ones down in this bedroom, then we can start tidying, clearing this room out and get ready to move the bed and everything in, so we can plaster the front bedroom. Disaster with the time lapse there. The gorilla mount was not very gorilla-y, and it kind of slipped off the curtain and the rail down there, so we ended up filming the floor for a bit. But yeah, we've got the rest of the floorboards pretty much back down in here. We've got the one by the window cut to length, and we've cut the other 3-metre board to length to sort of nominate it for that piece of wall so it doesn't get used for something else. But I've got to cut that sort of in length, half in half, basically, to slot into the gap underneath the window, which I'm not going to be able to do tonight. So, but we've got all of that in. We've got all the gaps down there plugged. I do also actually want to replace this board as well, because it's butted right up here. There's a huge crack in it, and the edge of this board's missing, so there's quite a substantial gap there. So we are going to replace that one, but I am stark out of long enough pieces of floorboards to do that, so we need to go buy some more. Which I sat in Wicks today when we were buying the 4x1 for under the bath and thought, yeah, I should get a couple more floorboards because I know I'm going to need them. Should have done it. I didn't do it. Anyway, we're pretty much there with getting this room clean and tidied up. We've got the 2 floorboards laid out ready to go into that section to plug that gap back up. I'm just going to check with Alex and see, yeah, is he ready to do that, or does he need to get under there for any reason before we do that? But then other than that, we're just cleaning up the remaining bits of the windowsill, getting everything else out, giving the room a good clean down, and then we'll be moving the main bedroom from that one to this one. The only job I am considering doing just before I do that, though, is actually doing the tape and filler on all these dots and dabs on the walls, because I'm going to do the same on the other side. I might as well do it while I've got a whole load of filler about and just get the job done at the same time. But yeah, the other good thing about moving is this room, which I have just realised while looking into the corner of the room, is the power socket is in here, so we won't actually need the extension socket. But what that should hopefully now mean is that when we finished in this room, and we've moved everything out, and Elizabeth's just been getting organised ready for house move number 4762, we should be good then to start fillering, plastering, and doing everything we need to do in this room from tomorrow. So objective is to get everything moved into there by the end of the day. More time has passed, and yet again I have not been doing updates. So first of all, the local rugby club put up the fireworks display, which we can see really clearly from our house, so we're going to roll a clip of that now. So yeah, that was actually pretty good. They put up a decent display. Alex has also been around now, and he's figured out what the issue was with that. Turns out the boiler had been wired incorrectly, and what was happening was it should have been shutting off, but it wasn't shutting off. It was just continually running, which was pushing more pressure into the system. So he's been through, modified some of the wiring for it, made a couple of tweaks upstairs, nipped a couple of things up as well, and we're at the stage now where we've had the heating running for like the last hour or so. There's been no overpressures. It's got to about 2.6 bar and just sat there. Elizabeth's also been a busy bee, so she's been through and she's cleaned down all the windowsills, so that's looking nice, lovely and scrubbed as well. We've got to do a bit with the curtains and the blinds still. She's also vacuumed most of the floor up as well. So I've just been through and vacuumed up the rest of this joist space. So I'm going to get these floorboards fitted down so we're good to go, and then we're going to get the rest of the kit out of here, and then we're going to start moving the bedroom into this space, so we're good to go. So we are gradually making progress, but we are jumping from pillar to post with particular jobs. In particular, we spent a lot of time looking at pressure dials today and yesterday, which is not the most exciting content in the world, but at least we're progressing. So let's get these floorboards down, and then we can move on. Friendly reminder from Elizabeth that we should be vlogging this, but we got this room cleaned now. We're starting to move some of our stuff in, and guess what? It may have been a while, but it's time to disassemble the bed again! Yay! I think this is disassembly number 9 or 10 now. So we're going to take it apart, reassemble it in the other room, and then we can get on with moving all the bedding and the last of the bits in here, and then this room is gutted and ready to go. So, back into time-lapse mode! I feel like we've been tidying for hours, because we have been tidying for hours, but we are now at the stage where the main bedroom, the biggest bedroom, is now my workshop. Yay! I now have the biggest room in the house all to myself to do a load of stuff with. I've moved all the tools and stuff out of the bathroom and taken the sink, which has been living on the landing for the longest time, and put it in a rough home where it's going to live temporarily as the temporary sink once we get in here. There's still more rubbish and stuff to tidy up in here, but it's relatively quick, just move some bags and stuff, so that's a problem for tomorrow. But yeah, we're now at the stage where this room is accessible to go and do things with, and we can start just doing some prep work. So we've got an old socket to remove, we've got some air vents, some plugs, we've got the old cables to run out the front of the house, some plasterboard holes to fill, expanding foam to fill, the back boxes for both of those sockets to get rid of. So yeah, we will make a good old start on this in the morning. but we are officially moved out of the room. It's now nearly midnight, so I doubt we're going to do too much more tonight. We'll probably get a good night's rest, and then we can make a head start on this in the morning. But yeah, have we made a lot of progress today is the question. We've done a lot of moving stuff around. We've got the heating officially working now. It hasn't leaked yet, which is good. We've got those boards back on that wall. In reality, we got the floorboards down, I guess. In reality, I don't feel like we've made a ton of progress just moving things around, but hopefully tomorrow we should absolutely fly through things to do in this room as long as we get a good run of it. And you never know, this time tomorrow I could be standing in the fully plastered bedroom. How exciting is that going to be? But anyway, hope you've enjoyed the vlog. And we will hopefully catch you in the next one. Please do consider subscribing. Sorry, I was thinking of a story I was going to tell you, and I'm going to save it till tomorrow, because, yeah, I'm in trouble with Elizabeth, because I might have broken something. But anyway, you'll find out about that one tomorrow. See you then.